Ladies and gentlemen, that rant breaking down why Survivor is toxic for black fans. Trust me when I say it's gone way more viral than any of y'all think. All right, I've got sources in a lot of high places that tell me CBS is watching me very closely. So, hi, CBS. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just witnessed tonight while watching Survivor, it once again is another example of how white privilege can take you far in this game. Literally, Jon Crow has made himself into one of the biggest targets imaginable. The guy finishes damn near in the top three places in every immunity challenge known to man. And the minute he is a sitting duck to be taken out, what is the excuse we hear from other players during the same season as this white guy? Oh, he's not a good strategist. What does that matter? Literally, him and Lindsay just dog walked all of y'all in an immunity challenge. They're aligned together. That should have made the threat level of both of those white players go through the roof exponentially. For High to leave over anyone in that alliance, that's a travesty. And I'm not even a High fan. Trust me, I've jumped off the High bandwagon since he called rocksroy a misogynist. But you need to understand something. Even High was a victim of not being white tonight. This is why I try to tell people, bruh. All of y'all playing anti-black games when y'all ain't white is foolish for you too. But I get it. You're trying to do what you can do to please that production crew. And in this rant, ladies and gentlemen, only my second rant of Survivor 42, I'm going to break down why I believe production may have interfered this week. And I think that's the only reason we didn't get the real payoff we deserved of Jon Crow being sent to the Shadow Realm. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed, the Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame, Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. I'm, of course, your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, the resilient rant god, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the pro black prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the pronoun Punisher, the no sleep assassin, the uncancelable one, the apex analyst, here to bring balance back to Survivor, cause no one else can or will. All of the above on that ISAT test and ACT, reppin' that ill. You know what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking shots tonight like I'm rapping drill. Oh, we talking it tonight. What I witnessed during this episode was horrific. Alright, this guy Jon Crow gets exposed something serious last week during the tribal council. Salute to Maryanne and Drea. Big shout outs to Maryanne for pulling it through tonight, clutched it. She got the new idol that was re-thrown into the game. Maryanne found it. Lindsay could have found it, but it seems the cameraman didn't point her in that direction. I appreciate the fact that y'all tried to be fair with that. Maybe y'all are even in the playing field a little bit. Because Survivor in the Stone Ages, Lindsay would have found that idol. Please believe, Maryanne, by the time she's trying to get that firewood, that idol's gone already. We would have seen Russell Crowe talking about, I didn't need a clue to find it. Yeah, okay. You was one of the first that got white privilege in this game. Get out of here with that crap. See, you gotta understand, a lot of these people who benefited from a rigged game that are alumni of this game, they have no incentive to admit how the sausage is made because it takes away from their greatness too. So they have to make it seem like there's nothing rigged because they benefited from it being rigged too. You gotta understand that. Oh yeah, we taking shots at everybody. Oh, I'm laying that out as bait. I hope he bites at it, because he will lose that debate. But with that said, Coach, come on now. We know if Jonathan was a black man doing as well as he's done in all these in these immunity challenges, having all these allies. You got Omar who's controlling these tribals. You got Lindsay who seems to be as has the physical endurance that Jonathan has just from a female perspective. And you have Maryanne who everyone knows has had an idol before. Those four should be the bigger threats to everyone. Screw what High did last week to rocksroy. High is still on his own. He's still on an island. For y'all to allow Jonathan to skate by another week, it just doesn't make sense. And this is what I'm trying to get y'all to see. Production chose Jonathan's side over High's. But see, what production does is they will gas high up to want to take out a rocksroy because that helps Jonathan's game long term. They will gas up a guy like Omar to do all these things to protect high because, once again, that's not him sticking his neck out for a black man. Tonight, I saw Omar actually be willing to go against what everyone else wanted to do just to protect high, stuff he never was willing to do for a black man. So it showed me he is capable of pivoting. He is capable of taking out bigger threats. But for whatever reason, once again, Mike holding on to an idol was less of a threat than rocksroy with no powers. But once again, these fans want to tell us Drea and Maryanne were such huge threats just for having powers. When even tonight, during the episode, Omar admitted to Lindsay Jonathan is an idiot for trying to take out Maryanne before Tori. So even the people who are rooting for that side have less room to run, less things to hide behind, because even anti-black Omar admitted Jonathan is a dummy. So what does that say about all the fans defending Jonathan's gameplay? That they're dummies. So imagine, these people claim to be purists of the game when in reality they're just fans of 78% win percentages. They're telling us we don't have the right to root for black folks to increase their win percentage above 12%. Can we at least have a 20% win percentage? Is that too much to ask for, folks? It's a shame I got to even ask for that much. Meanwhile, these people think they deserve a win percentage above 80%, while they tell us we don't deserve one above 15. Y'all not hearing me? See, this makes all these people, see, they never had no entity like me in the Survivor community before. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. Because I can bring all these talking points in freestyle format. I can do it any way you want to do it. I'm John Bones Jones. I can fight you at your favorite style and still kick that ass. There's nothing you can do about it. I can bring notes to the table, you're in trouble. Okay, I can bring just freestyle thoughts, you're still in trouble. And see, what I'm noticing about this season, trust me, I'm happy Maryanne got that idol. That's hope for the future. Drea still has the idol steal ability. Hopefully she takes it from Mike because he has self-hate. I'm just saying what it is. Please don't steal it from Maryanne. The streets don't need that. We don't want to see no black on black crime. We've seen enough of it on what happened to Chanelle. But at the end of the day, I will say this episode was a lot better considering. I thought what happened at that tribal would run on over into the rest of the game. But it seemed like Jonathan and Lindsay, they didn't want to discuss that with nobody because they knew it made them look bad. See, you notice, as soon as these folks can't use no narratives that benefits them, they're willing to let bygones be bygones. It's almost as if production told the four of them when they returned to the campsite, you cannot discuss what happened in the last tribal council. We do not want this, the rest of the season, being discussed this way. All right, you got what you had to say out of the way. Now let's get back to the game. That's what it felt like to me. Because when they got back to that campsite, it's as if nobody was reacting to what just happened. It literally was a ground-shaking tribal council, but it's almost as if everything was all hunky-dory. Super hunky-dory. It was bizarre to me, especially when you consider this is now the final 8. Now we're in final 7 now without High, but with 8 people left, the fact that Maryanne, Lindsay, Jonathan, and Omar were all in an original tribe, it makes zero sense to not target one of those 4 when you're in final 8. They literally are half of the players left. For this house, I said house, I'm still in Big Brother mode. For this cast to think High is a bigger threat than a clear alliance of 4, well, Maryanne not really in that alliance of 4, but still a clear alliance of 3, a perceived alliance of 4, it's a joke. Makes no sense. I don't care what High has done, what he's capable of doing, he would have unraveled on his own. For High to go over Jonathan when Jonathan is the bigger threat because he has more allies protecting him, it's just going to make it even harder to get Jonathan out later. You have to rely on Lindsay, Omar, and Maryanne to turn on him later. And that's why I was looking at Omar this week like, he talks a big game like he's this fantastic player. Well, if he would have took out Jonathan and betrayed him this week, he could have worked his way into me believing he was a great player. Because you can create the argument, when Jonathan is gone, Mike still hates High. So Mike is still Omar's number more than High's. Omar has Lindsay now because Jonathan's not there for Lindsay to be distracted with. Omar still has Maryanne a little bit too. Omar literally allowed Jonathan to still stay in control of Final 7 by not whacking him before Final 7. See, Omar fans are going to try to make this seem as if what he did tonight, oh, it made all sense in the world. But you got to understand, a lot of these fans are just white people that are only rooting for Jonathan because he's the last white guy left. See, they can play those games and root for their only white representative. But when black people root for our black representatives, we're wrong. See how that works? And just like tonight in Big Brother Canada 10, white folks celebrated like it was the Super Bowl just because black folks choked and letting the white guy make Final 3 then. We have a scenario this week where I believe folks choked by letting this white guy make Final 7. And the common denominator is production knows if the last white guy leaves before finale night, we're going to lose a lot of ratings. So they do certain things to even help massive targets like the Jonathans of the world last. But if a black man, once again, was as dominant pre-merge as Jonathan, he doesn't even make it to Final 8. So, once again, I don't know how Jonathan can act as if he is somehow a victim of racial gameplay when he keeps being coddled as if he's a weakling when everyone knows he's a strong player. But every time it's time to take him out, production gets their way in forming a narrative that, oh, he's too weak of a strategist to be taken out. It'd be a waste of an eviction, a waste of an elimination. That doesn't even make sense. Literally during the tribal council, Lindsay said even a playing field, Jonathan got paranoid like his alliance was going to turn on him. When I saw that paranoia, I'm like, oh yeah, please turn on this man now. He letting you know he ain't. Yeah. But once again, Jonathan once again prevails, and High gets sent to the Shadow Realm. And honestly, High, it's what you deserve, because you refused to pivot with anyone black. You decided to just play everybody and act like you're that guy. You throw Romeo under the bus for throwing a hinky on you, but then you align with him to get out Rocksroy when you could have just let Romeo go. If Rocksroy makes it to this week, I guarantee you black folks would have been on the chopping block for everyone heading into Final 7. But because you already took out Rocks, you didn't have that shield in front of you for someone like Omar, someone like Romeo, someone like Lindsay to want out before someone like you, High, and that's what you deserve, you know? I saw what was it, the reward, they did a reward competition tonight. They also did an immunity challenge tonight. During the reward part, it was a touching moment. Lindsay, she basically picked Omar and then she picked Mike. They went to the reward, they ate a little bit, but then they got these messages from home, which you could tell really put some gas in their gas tank. You could tell they was running on E a little bit. That gave them the motivation they needed to push forward. You always like to see stuff like that. Moments that we see all the time on Big Brother, for example. But yeah, it was a very touching moment, something that I believe production did to bring Mike closer towards anti-black players. They don't want Mike ever working with Drea and Maryanne closely, clearly because Mike is the other one with an idol. They're not fooling me at all. They definitely, and see, for Lindsay and Jonathan to come out of that tribal council and for Lindsay to not pick a black woman for that reward, it told me everything she said during that tribal council was grifting. Because you ain't trying to help them eat. And then they talk about how this is food for the soul. Like, I felt like they was trolling black fans a little bit. Like, chill out. You feel it, dig me. But with that said, strategically, it was a sound game move on Lindsay's end. Felt more like Omar's gameplay, in my opinion, for her to bring Mike. That's what Omar would have chose to do. I thought for Lindsay's game, she probably should have chosen a woman there. But I digress. So the three of them, they have the reward. They see their families. It brings Mike closer to Omar and Lindsay. But I got to be honest with you, Lindsay. I think your threat level has gone through the roof tonight. Not only because you won the immunity comp over Jonathan, but because you got rid of High, who was another immunity shield for you personally. That's my thought process on this. Now, maybe this is why Lindsay and Jonathan preferred Tori staying so badly. But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Because if that was really the truth, you would have kept High this week like you wanted to keep Tori last week. Oh, see, they ran into the trap again. See, they ran into the trap again. If your excuse for keeping Tori over those black women was that she could be an immunity challenge shield for you, then High should have stayed this week as well. But nah, y'all wanted High gone because he was a legit threat and he wasn't part of your original 4 and he wasn't Mike. So now, heading into Final 7, it feels as if this group's natural next target is probably Drea and Romeo. It feels like the natural next target for that group of players is Drea and Romeo. barring some unforeseen circumstances. Now, based on the preview for the next episode, it seems like Drea is going to work herself into a new Final Five deal that's going to include Omar in it, possibly Lindsay. I didn't know who else was in it. It happened very fast. You got to understand, I was watching it on Paramount Plus. You know, you can't rewind a damn thing when you're watching live TV. But at the end of the day, though, it does seem like Drea is going to be fine next week as long as that five-person alliance is real. So that's good for her. Maryanne has the idol, so she's in a good position heading into next week. I'd argue Maryanne is in the best position out of everyone in that original tribe, mainly because they assume she burned her idol. They don't know she has the new idol, which is also good because now she's aware of the tactics Lindsay and Jonathan were willing to play on her by her being on the bottom of that group. So now that she's won the new idol, she now has no incentive to share that information with you like she would have shared it to you prior to the merge, which now sets up Jonathan and Lindsay to probably get blindsided when Maryanne does end up playing that idol later on in the game. And I can't wait to see that as well, Maryanne. I hope you use it wisely. And this is a huge cautionary tale for a guy like Jonathan and a woman like Lindsay. They should have just voted Tori out. They should have never risked Maryanne. Matter of fact, they should have never risked Drea. If they never do those things, Maryanne doesn't lose any trust in them. But I guess you could create the argument if they don't do those things, Drea and Maryanne never burn their idol, so Maryanne never finds the new idol. So in a way, from a black fan perspective, this worked out perfect for us. Outside of the fact that Jon Crow stayed over high. If I could have got that on top of it, it would have been icing on the cake. It would have been the cherry on top. But I'll take it with me. But that's the way the game is looking heading into Final 7. Omar seems to have, he doesn't have as much power as he would have had if he would have sacrificed Jonathan and kept high. In my opinion, that was his game-winning move. If he was to sacrifice Jonathan in that moment, had high in his pocket, now Mike is still after high, okay? So now you got control over Mike, who has an idol. You got control over high. You can basically focus them on each other, but you're aligned to both of them. Then you got Lindsay and Maryanne, who you're close to. Then in that situation, all Omar had to do is push for Drea and Romeo to go next. And most likely it would have been Drea because he's close to Romeo already and he believes he can control him. So, in my opinion, for Drea's game, she needs to get out Omar in Final 7. That's her move. If she can't get out Jonathan, she needs to get out Omar next. I think she can work with Lindsay. She clearly can work with Maryanne. Drea also, I think, can work with Mike. Because Mike likes straight shooters. He prefers that type of a player. Now, Mike might be a little bit too close to Lindsay and Omar now because of that reward trip. But one thing is for certain here. You make one mistake 1 week and Mike forgets all of the stuff you did before that, right? We've seen it with Chanelle and we've seen it with High. So if Mike is the type to hold grudges, there is a chance here that he could also have a grudge to be held with Lindsay and Omar in favor of Drea and Maryanne's game. Now, if I know anything about the guy who doesn't claim to be black with a black phenotype, he probably won't. But it's okay to have a little bit of hope. I'm just saying what it is. But, so yeah, in my opinion, for Drea's game, I know she's probably going to try to start some Final Five deal with Omar, but you need to get him out as soon as you get rid of Jonathan. If you could get out Jonathan and Omar back to back, and if you could have your Final Five with Maryanne, Lindsay, Mike, and Romeo, oh, that's perfect for her game. She beats Romeo easily. I think she washes Lindsay because the jury know Lindsay's grifting. You really dig me? I think Omar's going to have a bitter jury because he's going to have to backstab everybody and their mama to get to the end. Well, of course, in this situation, Omar's not the Final Five. But you get my point. I think Drea is in a great position now, where now she has the narrative built in that she's the deserving one. If she makes the end, she just got to get there. And sometimes that's the dangerous part. During tonight's episode, we even heard Maryanne bring up a great analogy. She said it's like Survivor Jenga. You want to take the piece out of the bottom and just put it at the top, but that might be a valuable piece for later. You don't want to move yet. And then, of course, somebody else, I think it was High, who said, we're all like marathon runners with blindfolds on. Like, we don't know who's leading the pack. We don't know who's leading the race. We just know we're still going, and we're getting exhausted and tired. I thought there was a lot of good one-liners during this tribal council, if I'm being honest. Mike compared the game to being a firefighter. The surround and drown Jeremy Collins of it all. And I believe someone else compared it to another. Oh, Omar compared it to being a veterinarian. So I thought everybody held their own in the tribal councils for the most part. It definitely was a different aura in that tribal. Felt like the jury were told to smile a lot. It really felt like production was like, hey man, let's let them know there's no tension here now, okay? We're going to lose fans after last week. Let's get them back. And that's another reason why they couldn't let Jonathan go a week after that. See, I'm too smart. I'm too smart. You see how I walked y'all in on that? I walked y'all to that. See, I gotta walk people along slowly to seeing how I see it. You gotta understand, production knows for optics, it looks bad for black folks to be 3 straight on jury, but it also looks bad for Jonathan to go right after being accused of subconscious racism. It kind of vindicates that he was subconsciously racist if everyone votes him out next. And that's why I believe everyone made a decision to get rid of High before that. Basically to say, hey, well, it's High's fault Rocksroy left. It's no one else's fault. So let's just blame High for trying to put us down this path of 3 straight black people reaching jury. That way all the white people can skate by and High becomes the scapegoat. You see how that works? See, I need Asian folks to pay attention to this too, because they just basically threw y'all under the bus for all the dirt white folks tried to do last week. And see, y'all not hearing me though. Y'all not hearing me. Oh yeah, I know. I'm really good at creating back-to-back classics. I know. It is what it is. But yeah, in my opinion, Drea, what she should do, she should get out Jonathan and she should get out Omar next. I think that sets her up very well for Final Five. For Maryanne's game, I think she needs Jonathan out next. Because when she heard it was between High and Jonathan, she was like, oh, good. Yeah, she needs Jonathan gone. But I think after Jonathan, for Maryanne's game, I think she needs Romeo gone. Call me crazy. But she doesn't have a problem with Omar yet. She can, and I think she can beat him at the end because she's more likable than him to the jury. I think Omar's going to be a very unlikable guy if he makes the end. Also, Romeo, he has ties to Drea. You want to whack someone who could rework with Drea in the future? I think that's Maryanne's best case scenario in Final Five. Omar, Mike, Drea, and Lindsay. Okay, so we got that out of the way. For Romeo's game, now that High is gone, I think Romeo, he has a chance of being dragged to the end as a GOAT now, in my opinion, Romeo, because he has no control over anything. He has no real strategic equity. He is skated by 2 weeks in a row simply because other people of color were bigger threats than him. In theory, he has an underdog story, but nowhere near as strong as Drea's. So in my opinion, Romeo, it sounds crazy, but he probably needs Drea gone. Nah, he needs Drea in Final Five. There's no way he gets there without her. I think someone turns him into it. Yeah, he needs Drea there. In my opinion, and you got to understand, Romeo always wanted Jonathan gone. So he needs Jonathan gone. And honestly, I think for Romeo's game, he probably needs Lindsay. I think he needs Lindsay. He needs Omar to not have anyone that he needs to be loyal to anymore on that side that forces Omar to go to the end with him. Because in that case, it becomes a likability thing, and then Romeo might have a shot as well. I really do think Omar could be the guy people develop hate for. I really do. Because the guy, he's the Helena of Survivor. Oh, I'm not no threat. I have your back, people of color. And then behind your back, he clowns you. You hear the way he spoke about Mike tonight? Mikey boy. He sounded just like I used to talk about Mike. Talking down to that man. Now imagine that. You don't identify as black, but we don't hear Omar calling any white man Johnny boy. We don't hear that out of his mouth. He speak about Jon Crow like he Jon Snow. But when it come to yo, black looking ass, he call you Mikey. Now you can't tell me that ain't a microaggression. But once again, it's not my place to be offended on your behalf because you don't identify as black. I'm just here to let you know the Negro wake-up call is coming. I'm just letting you know. Listen, Maryanne already got it. That's why she got the hunger, boy. The fire inside of let it burn. She found that immunity so fast. You don't say give up. You say no, you don't say good luck. You say don't give up. It's the fire. Maryanne ain't playing with y'all, boy. She finna go roots on y'all. Shout outs to Questlove. You feel it, dig me? But so that was my thoughts pretty much. Did I speak on anyone else's win conditions heading into Final Seven? Um, for Lindsay's game, yeah, let's speak about Lindsay because I think she turned herself into a big threat tonight. She clearly needs Jonathan because I think she beats Jonathan at the end. I really do. But no, she doesn't. I think she needs Jonathan to make it as close to the end as possible without making it to the end, if that makes any sense. She needs him as a shield to protect her because he will always go over her. But see, what she doesn't realize is by not sacrificing Jonathan, she becomes the juicy threat when you can't get Jonathan out now. But if she would have sacrificed Jonathan, now she doesn't look like the juicy threat at all. You see how Drea now looks with no rocksroy near her. Now all of a sudden, she don't got no idol. She ain't got no rocks. All of a sudden, everybody like, oh, she's cool. We don't gotta go to rocks. You feel what I'm saying? I think Lindsay made a huge mistake here by not being willing to whack Jonathan. Look, I get it. You don't want to hand high the game, and I said high should have left before jury started. But high was not the bigger threat. And also, Lindsay, how are you going to differentiate your game from Jonathan's if you never step out of his shadow? We saw Ben Driebergen. And that was the first Survivor Rant I ever did because that was so rigged. Don't even get me started on that. The woman he beat at the end of that season, oh, they robbed her. She won the final immunity challenge, and then Jeff Probst created some new rule on the fly. Oh, we can do this fire-making challenge so Ben can stay. And I'm like, what? He already lost. That's when I knew. What they will do for white men, they won't do for us, okay? You see how it comes back full circle to the whole thesis of this rant, okay? It might be called even the playing field, but in my opinion, the playing field is still unleveled. That's the irony of this rant's title. That's the irony. Taking out Jonathan would have evened it. But now with Jonathan still here and High leaving, all you did was take out a guy who was on his own anyway, who was a wild card, who was a rogue vote. That's all you did. Sure, he had some influence, but not really any influence. The only influence he really had was with Romeo, who was desperate, and Omar was willing to use him as a weapon. But at the end of the day, Coach, High was not that big of a threat. Now, I could see why Lindsay thinks High's a big, he's the only one who can probably beat out Jonathan for immunity. As long as Jonathan stays safe with immunity, we have the majority of votes heading in a Final Seven. No one can beat us. But that's why I think Omar is going to flip on y'all. Because Omar has to see, wait a minute, I can't beat Lindsay in no immunity challenge. I can't beat Jonathan in any immunity challenge. Maryanne, he don't even know she got a secret idol. It's getting to the point now where Omar has to flip if he wants to win. That's why I think he should have flipped already tonight. Why flip when High's gone, but not flip when he's there? It doesn't make sense to me. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to answer your questions. I want to hear your thoughts on this game. Those are my thoughts. This rant does not have to be that long. This is only the second rant of the season. Trust me, we're going to have a lot more things to discuss next time around. I believe we're one episode away possibly from the finale. Don't they usually do the finales with the final 6? I might be wrong, but I thought that's how they did it. Maybe they did it with final 5. Maybe there's 2 more episodes before the finale, but I wanted to give you all another rant. I wanted to entertain you all. I wanted to give you all my thoughts on this game. I want y'all to understand, when it comes to breaking down the strategy, it doesn't matter what show it is. I'm good at this stuff, right? A lot of people are salty right now because they expected me to not know how to cover Survivor. Now they're realizing, oh man, this guy's good at this too. What is going on here? But that's my thoughts on this week. I love Survivor, but this needs to stop with the toxic double standards. I agree with you, Lord Wu, wholeheartedly. I mean, let's just be honest here. It made no sense if you know 4 out of the 8 people left in Final 8 were all on the same original tribe, it does not make any sense for the other 4, which is Mike, Romeo, Drea. Yeah, and High. It makes no sense for Mike, Romeo, Drea, and High to not align for 1 vote to get out Jonathan. Makes no sense. It's idiotic to me. I don't care how Mike feels about High. That's a dumb decision, Mike. You have an idol in your pocket. You get rid of Jonathan. You're good, bro. You're good. Seriously. But once again, Mike is playing this game emotionally to me. I don't think he's really playing it logically. People talk about how Jonathan don't understand the strategy. Does Mike understand it? I'm being honest. No matter how mad you are at Rocksroy, Jonathan deserved that smoke this week. But see, he is so smitten with Jonathan. I think Mike is willing to lose to Jonathan at the end, the way he's playing it. And you got to also remember, Rocksroy, he wanted the men's alliance. Mike might still believe that men's alliance is real, even though Rox is gone. I don't know. But what I do know is, for Mike's game, he should have worked this week with Romeo, with Drea, and with High, just to get Jonathan out. Then the week after that, work with Omar, Drea, Romeo, and Maryanne to get out High. That's how you play it, if you're a good player. But once again, I don't know, Mike. I feel like without that idol, you would be way worse at this game. And honestly, I feel like the only reason why you're being kept around with the idols is because everyone knows you're so weak. Being honest. I've never seen someone with an idol not be seen as a threat like this. But you're just skating by yourself. So this is another example of white privilege, even when I don't think it should even exist in this case. It is what it is. Oh, okay. I thought y'all said my mic went silent. I got nervous for a second. It's like, I've been killing it. Y'all can't hear me? Jon Crow was super nervous, Beatrice. Super nervous. When they said even the playing field, he looked around like it was Metal Gear Solid. Huh? Huh? What? Dun, 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 dun. He was like, wait a minute, producers told me I wouldn't leave this week. What's going on? Jonathan had that look on his face like he knew how the movie was going to end, and someone lied to him. You will dig me? Like he was in one of Hamza's Twitter spaces. Inside joke. Hey, I'm doing great, Nagate. Good to see you. Are you going to do lies over the Challenge All-Stars? Nagate, Challenge All-Stars rants, yes, they will be Patreon exclusive though. And also, there will be a Big Brother Canada 10 rant later tonight as well for patrons as well. I highly recommend y'all become patrons, especially if y'all would like to see the uncensored version of why Survivor is toxic for black fans. That is still on Patreon, unchanged in its glory. It is the video that triggered CBS. And I know CBS is mad that I'm not giving them any option on how to copyright this video. No, you got to let this one ride. Lindsay looks like a threat in the episode. Yes, she's a huge threat now. After her beating out Jonathan in that immunity comp, Patrice, I think all Lindsay did was turn herself into another target. And this is why I believe Omar will eventually turn, because there's no way he will win the game over Lindsay or Jonathan. It's not going to happen. The only people, I think for Omar, he might think the only one he can beat right now is probably Romeo. Don't be shocked if Omar's number one is Romeo now because there's no High. That's going to be his new weapon. The problem is Romeo is not capable of following orders, and I'm not going to say that. He's not capable of completing the mission as easily as High would have been well equipped to do. This is why I don't believe Omar can win this game now after sacrificing High before Jonathan. I think the game-winning move was to sacrifice Jonathan first, have High and Romeo together in your pocket. Now you have control over every single facet of the game, and your threat level goes down because you were willing to cut Jonathan in ways High was willing to cut Lydia. By him being unwilling to cut Jonathan, but he was willing to cut Rocksroy, it just goes to show what kind of game he's really playing. I agree, Molly. It makes no sense for them to not target that 4. It makes no. By the way, smash that like button for me, ladies and gentlemen. Piss CBS off. But Miss Molly, I honestly don't understand why they're letting those 4 make Final 7. Now those 4 have control of Final 7 completely. Even if none of them win immunity, they still have the advantage in votes. It doesn't make any sense. This is why I'm telling y'all production played a role in this. But once again, this is another rant people are going to try to dismiss, because they can't refute my talking points. But literally, put yourself in the shoes of Drea, Romeo, Mike, and High. Why the hell would y'all want one of you to go in High, before Jonathan, who is with Lindsay, Omar, and Maryanne. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Drea should have wanted Jonathan gone for the last tribal. Maryanne, too, if I'm being honest. Now you add those 2 votes with the other 3. It should have been by a vote of 5-3. Bye-bye, Johnny boy. But once again, production didn't want Jon Crow to go. They want him to make finale night for show because they know if he's gone, a lot of white people will stop watching the show. I'm telling y'all, this plays a role in the game in ways y'all don't understand, but I do because I know how that sausage gets made. I'm spitting bars. I should have brought the Tupac beat. You feel it, dig me? I hit him up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I hope Drea steals Mike's idol for sure, because he don't know what he doing. You feel it, dig me, Molly? I'm keeping it a bean tonight. Mike does not know how to play this game. I'm sorry. The way this man's decision-making, he doesn't know what he's doing. We don't believe you. You need more people, bro. Okay? You can talk with that East Coast accent as much as you want, but I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it. You're no Jeremy Collins, dog. All right? I agree with you, H.I. He is giving Xander right now. Like, you have this idol that's going to take you as far as you want it to take you. But at the end of the day, you're not really controlling anything with that idol. You're not taking any chances with that idol. You're almost scared to do anything because you don't want to have to burn the idol from making too many waves while doing something with an idol. So instead, he just coasts like a floater with the idol, and everyone thinks of you as a weakling with the idol, so they never try to take you out to throw the idol back into the game. It's really weird to me. And I repeat, if Rocksroy would have had an idol, he would have been the target this week over High. But once again, that's something these folks don't want to discuss. All you gotta do is not identify as black, and you can hold on to an idol as long as you want in this game. That's astonishing to me. That's astonishing to me. Once again, all the people saying Drea and Maryanne had to be voted out for having an idol. They're real quiet this week again. How Mike keeps skating by. I bet High feels stupid for not voting Mike out over Rocksroy now. Exposed. Oh, we stumping them out now. They're in trouble, coach. Hey, High. Was it misogynistic for your boys Romeo and Omar to vote you out? Well, I don't know if Romeo voted you out tonight, but was it homophobic? Was it misogynistic for Omar to vote you out this week, huh? You're talking all this stuff about why Rocksroy ain't shit. Mike wanted that smoke with you and never forgave you, huh? What way are you going to spin this to your advantage now? That's the thing that's so funny about this. He got rid of a guy who was less of a threat to his specific game. I personally believe this week, if Rocksroy made it to this week, him, Drea, Maryanne, Romeo, and High would have taken out Jonathan. I do believe that. Because I saw Rocksroy in previous episodes saying, damn, this dude, you see what he's doing on his own? What the heck? Even if he offered that men's alliance, I think Rocksroy was willing to take the shot. He just had to fool people into thinking he wasn't 100% with Drea ride or die. And that's why I believe he pushed for the men's alliance. I believe Rocksroy did it to throw people off the scent of how close he was with Drea, and it backfired. But now people taking out Rocksroy backfired on them. Because Omar's game, he hurt his game by letting High go too, and High's gone. I'm seeing people get hit with karma left and right for letting the black man go. I'm sure y'all wish y'all had that shield now, you idiots. I'm just saying what it is. I'm just saying what it is. See, I'm in my bag now. Y'all in trouble. Once I get comfortable doing live streams on a new show, y'all are in trouble. This is as uncomfortable I'm ever going to be covering Survivor, and I'm already on point. That's dangerous. Amy Sue asks question, what do you think of Lindsay telling Mike and Omar about Drea's amulet? I thought it was proof of her anti-black gameplay. And thank you so much for bringing that up, because Lindsay also brought up the fact that she wanted High gone because he also had the amulet, right? And how the more people we get rid of, the stronger my amulet gets. So clearly Lindsay is telling them, hey guys, let's get rid of High this week. Let's make sure Drea goes home next week. Now I have all the power. And why the hell would Mike and Omar want to bestow Lindsay with all that power when she's so close to Jonathan? You're that close to Jon Crow, and I'm supposed to turn you into Captain Marvel? Nah, I'm straight, coach. I'm straight. I'm not letting you get to that amulet. And that's why I'm hoping Lindsay gets whacked for competing, for being a tryhard in immunity challenges, and somehow Drea ends up with that all-powerful amulet. You feel it? Dig me? Oh, that would be the greatest revenge of all, huh? For Jon Crow to have this look on his face when Lindsay gets taken out, and then somehow Drea gets all of the Infinity Stones at once. Power. I feel the power. And then she steals the idol from Mike. More power. And then her and Maryanne both play their idols like Egyptian god cards. You feel it, dig me? And then all of a sudden you got Jon Crow like, what is this? That's what I need to see in these streets. Give the fans what they want, CBS. We know you don't want to do it, but if you're gonna grift all the way, baby. Grift all the way. Hey, I agree with you. Lindsay is a grifter, Molly. I don't trust her. I don't. And she thinks she's slick. And the only reason why she brought Mike to that reward is because he don't identify as black. We know what it is. Oh, he hasn't had a reward all season. Ha 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 ha. That's a good excuse, but it fell in line too much with what Omar wanted you to do. I think that was the alibi you had built in, and you and Omar discussed it prior if you would have won it. Oh, I agree with you, Cam. They gave Omar too much credit for that high move. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But as you can see, this is what production wants. They want to make it seem like Omar is a mastermind, but in reality, him taking out High before Jonathan was not a mastermind play. Taking out Jonathan before High, I would have taken Omar seriously because it would have showed me he isn't looking for a zaddy to hide behind. It would have showed me he's willing to put on his big boy pants and be an alpha player. High, for all the criticism I give him, he was willing to be an alpha player. He wasn't trying to hide behind people. He wasn't trying to hide behind people, okay? But with Omar, all he wants to do is duck for cover. You see what I'm saying? And that's my main criticism of his game. Because when it's time for him to own his game at the end, I don't know if people will respect it because it's that rat gameplay. We want to see somebody who is willing to take center stage and stand on it at some point, and he just keeps acting like that's not the game he's playing. Look, it could benefit him by the end, and he could win. But I have a feeling people ain't going to respect them tactics, and I got a feeling he's going to get sussed out by the end of this game. I think he's going to get sussed out. And the way Mike is playing, why wouldn't you take Mike and Romeo to the end if you're Drea? You wash them both. Serious question. Mike and Romeo would get washed by her. You feel it, dig me? Now, I would prefer a scenario, in my opinion, where we get Maryanne, Drea, and at this point, I'd rather see Romeo in Final 3 than anyone else. Honestly, I'm rooting for you, Romeo, because the way you're an underdog, you getting treated like a black guy a little bit yourself. I feel bad. You really, like, week to week, you really don't have nobody who's really has your back. You just feel like you're just drifting along, like, you know. I've seen that happen to a lot of black men back in previous seasons. So I don't like to see that for nobody. But with that said, the game is the game, and it's a monster, man. So Isaiah says, I don't even watch Survivor, and I wonder to myself, how is Jonathan still in the game? We're wondering the same thing, Isaiah. And see, this is the thing, man. If Danny was in Jonathan's position, Danny would be gone this week. Let's keep it a bean. And Danny was a way better player than Jonathan, who had way less good allies around him. He still got whacked first out of all those black players. Well, Shan got whacked first, and then I think Danny got whacked second, and then I think Liana got whacked after that. Something like that. I can't remember. But what I do know is, at the end of the day, Coach, if Danny was in Jonathan's position, Danny would be gone already. Jon Crow, he does not understand how many second chances he's being given in this game. He reminds me of the kid at the arcade back in the day. We used to have this place back in my hood called Hollywood Park. Some of y'all might have had Hollywood Parks in your state growing up, but Hollywood Park was like this. It's what it sounds like. It was this place where you could play like miniature golf. You could play in the arcades. They had like an area for the kids to play. It was a dope place to go. And to me, he reminds me of the type of player in the arcade. I'm talking about Jonathan, whose parent always has coins for them when it's to be continued and they lose, their parents always have more coins for them to always stay on the sticks. So they never leave the arcade. They never leave the game. And the kids who are sitting behind them with just a few quarters to their name, just trying to play a couple of games, they never get a chance to play because their parents keep spoiling them by allowing them to get second chance to the second. That's production. Production got a whole bunch of wads of quarters coming out of their pockets. You know, it's like coins in Sonic. Every time you get hit, bling, all the coins fly out, all the rings fly out. In production, they got some cheat code built into the game. You absorb all the coins you lost immediately. And then Jonathan just comes back. I mean, they're trying to turn him into the perfect cell of Survivor. I'm just saying what it is. Call back. But you get what I'm saying. That's what Jonathan is, man. He's the kid at the arcade with infinite quarters. He's never getting off that stick. He's never getting off it. So you might as well move on to a new game, kid. You might as well move on to a new game. It's sad, but it's true. Oh, Romeo voted out Jonathan. I'm proud of you, Romeo. See, Romeo always knew Jonathan needed to go. So that means Romeo was with High during this vote, meaning Romeo is now alone. Romeo, you need to understand Omar ain't shit if Omar didn't vote out Jonathan there. Now, I get it. Omar's going to create the narrative. Oh, I couldn't vote out Jonathan. That's my guy. But Romeo, that should tell you you will never be close to Omar for real as long as Jonathan is around. So in my opinion, Romeo, you need to exercise some pivoting prowess here. You need to get back with Drea. You need to hope Maryanne comes with you. Hopefully news of that tribal council from a week ago has gotten through. And hopefully Romeo will have to understand, hey, I need these two sisters because they being treated as bad as I'm being treated. Why can't we all align? And that's what the streets really need. I would love to see that final three. I'd love to see it. You feel it, dig me? So salute to you, Romeo. I think Lindsay is going to make Drea a target next week because of the three. Exactly, Beatrice. That's what I alluded to right there. By her outing the fact that Drea had the amulet. Because I think Drea only told the Alliance that she really had an extra vote. Maybe she also told them about the amulet. But, yeah. But at least she didn't tell them about the fact she could steal an idol. You really dig? That's the thing, Molly. I don't remember Drea having a reward myself. You feel me? I'm thinking, but maybe she did, and that was just back when I wasn't really following Survivor too hard. Maybe that was pre-merge when she had a reward. I don't know. Romeo and Drea were close to the beginning. I still don't get how their relationship drifted. I don't either, Molly. It's like 1 week, all of a sudden, Drea... I'm starting to think Drea turned on Romeo for the 8. That's what I'm starting to think. But now that the 8 is fake, Drea has no reason to not reel Romeo back in. I'm hoping that pivot happens for the both of them because they need each other. And honestly, seeing Romeo and Omar work together, Romeo, that guy's not going to help you in this game. He's not going to take... He might take you far because he thinks he can beat you, but he don't really got your back as long as Jonathan and Lindsay are around. You need them two gone before you can ever trust Omar all the way. And I think that's why you're probably going to see that Final Five Alliance get formed next week, and that's why Omar's probably going to want dibs in that with Romeo and Drea, because he has to see, I can't go to the end with Jonathan and Lindsay. I got to cut at least one of them. And I think that's what's going to happen. Cameron says the do or die twist is happening next week where whoever drops out first faces a 66% chance of elimination. I've never heard of this twist. Did it start in 41? Do or die twist. I like that, though. It forces people to not throw comps. And you know what? This might be really bad for Omar because he seems to be the most out of shape left in that game. Listen, I'm just saying what it is. I'm saying what y'all are thinking. All right? Look, I ain't trying to throw unnecessary shade. I'm just saying. Woo! Now the question is, what kind of competition is that going to be? Because they could rig that too, but I don't know. They're not going to let Drea go far. GQ, I feel you on that, but hey, the fact that she can steal an idol, I'm not losing hope in her just yet. But I agree with you that right now things do look dire for her. I do believe things do look dire for her. But based off Romeo voting out Jonathan, Romeo's going to head into next week wanting Jonathan out the most, whether Omar says yes or no. Drea should agree with him that Jonathan needs to go. That's 2 people. Maryanne should also want Jonathan gone. That's 3 people. All right, so now they got 3 votes heading in the final 7. Now you just got to make sure Jonathan doesn't win immunity, and there we go. You're already halfway there. You just need 1 more vote, and he's out of there. Is Omar going to be that fourth vote? Because I don't think Mike flips on Jonathan before Omar. That will probably have to be the four people to get Jonathan out in Final 7. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been my second rant of Survivor 42, entitled Even the Playing Field. I'm Dave Smith for Recency Bias Radio, Cookout Crew's Own. And this is just the first in two double headers. I will be back on Patreon a little bit later in the evening to give you all my thoughts on Big Brother Canada. But for now, I hope this rant will suffice. What are your thoughts? Please comment below and give me your perspective. Do you believe High should have left before Jonathan? I don't. Based on the numbers heading into Final 8, that decision made no sense for 4 out of the 8 players left in the game. I'd argue 5 if you include Maryanne. Do you think production played a role in Jonathan staying over High? Because I sure do. Do you agree with me when I say it makes no sense for anyone left to not take out Lindsay or Jonathan next? I think one of them two have to go next. They've proven themselves to be too strong at this point. And I kind of hope Lindsay goes next off of a Jonathan immunity challenge win, so the amulet is fully powered for Drea. But if I know anything about production, they're going to make sure that amulet is fully powered for Lindsay. I hope I'm wrong, but I got to keep my antennas up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. This is going to be a weekly thing from now on, because CBS made a big mistake. Thanks for watching, and until next time, deuces.